Welcome everyone to Class 1A, my name is Dylan, bringing you another My Hero Academia chapter breakdown. This week we have chapter 352, Ultimate Move. And it's been a while since our last chapter, I think 3 whole weeks, almost an entire month since we got the last manga chapter, and I am so excited to jump back into this. We kick off the chapter back before the Second War begun, in the dorms. We join Shoto and Deku talking about the upcoming fight. And I just can't get over Mineta here blocking Ida's junk, really cursed. While Deku was away from UA, Shoto was perfecting a new move to stop Dabi. This new move utilizes Flash Fire Fist to build power and then mixes warm and cold blood together into an equilibrium. The resulting effect is a cold fire that can shield Shoto. And I just love the differences here between Endeavor's approach and Shoto's approach. Because if you look at how Endeavor wanted Shoto to use his fire ability, it was more so use fire until you can't go anymore, then use the ice to cool it down. But Todoroki rejected this from the start. So he only used ice for a really long time until he was able to accept his father's side. Then he kind of went a little overboard on the fire. If you remember back to joint training, that entire fight was just all fire all the time from Shoto. But here we actually see a real mixing of the two. Shoto isn't using it to compensate for his fire side, instead he's using it with his fire side. And if you just think about the entire family dynamic at this point, it's just perfectly represented there, because they're not rejecting their father, and they're not rejecting their mother and siblings. They're trying to bring the entire family back together, back into an equilibrium, just like Shoto is trying to bring his quirks in together into an equilibrium. Because it's not about one side fighting against the other to compensate for both of them, it's learning how to use both of them together in the most perfect way, and then you have the good results. But now, he accepts both sides. He takes his father's side, he takes his mother's side, he brings them in together into a perfect bond. By doing this, will he ever burn as hot as Dabi? Probably not, but that's okay because he is still more powerful. And even though this equilibrium isn't as strong as it could be if it was just one side dominating, it's still the perfect balance. And he even ends with this line and he calls it my power. This is my power. And I think that's just so important to really drive home what's going on here. We then jump back into the Todoroki brothers fighting as Shoto blasts his new move at Dabi just to block his Flash Fire Fist and counter. But even with the perfect set of tools, Dabi is still burning hotter and comes back at him. And I really love this line from Dabi when he says, "This is the effect of the superhuman society. We are the limits." Because yeah, they are really the limits here. I mean, Dabi, you can't burn hotter than him at this point. I mean, if he burns any hotter, he's just going to melt himself to pieces. And Shoto has the ultimate set of abilities, fire and ice, to compensate for each other. No one else with any singular one of these abilities could go as far as him. Shoto then reels back and thinks of his classmates and his journey, going from feeling totally lost and alone to realizing all of Class 1A was there with him, making a home for him at UA. Does this mean love and friendship and accepting yourself is the ultimate guide to winning this big battle? Yes, absolutely, and it is incredibly based. I'm here for it. And in all seriousness, I think it's really good that they're driving home this point about how important UA and Class 1A has been to everyone. Because if you look back at them a year ago, they were just kids with really strong quirks. Now, they're heroes about to save the world. And then Shoto gathers all of his strength and shows his real ultimate move as he goes plus ultra and blasts Dabi with a great Arctic tsunami, extinguishing his flames. Wow, is that really the end? Well, maybe. I think it's the end, but maybe it not might be the end. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure here, but I think Dabi might have something else up his sleeve. But regardless, in the most literal sense of the word, this fight was really epic actually. It's really hard to lose yourself in the fight when you're going from page to page to page to page really quickly because of all the action, but just take a second and look at some of these pages. I mean, the spreads on the fight are unreal at this point. I mean, it's just beautiful full page spreads. I cannot imagine how amazing this is going to be when it's animated. Though this fight has been amazing so far, and if it ended here, I think it would still be a good fight. I think Dabi has something left. But regardless of all of that, I think already we know this is a real coming together of Shoto's journey. I mean, his entire character arc was moving just to this one moment, where not only does he accept his entire family, both his father's side and his mother's side, but he accepts the fact that Dabi is his brother and goes after him to stop him because he is the only one who can do it. And I think this is just such a good parallel into like the whole domestic abuse theme from Shoto. And I know it's a little bit of a heavy topic, but like it is really true. Dabi is like the manifestation of that abuse. And what I mean by that is a lot of times that abuse is like a cycle. It goes from generation to generation to generation, and you need someone to stop it. And if Dabi is the manifestation of what this abuse is from Endeavor, then Shoto is the only one to stop it. He's the only one to break the line of abuse and make sure it doesn't go further than this. And so like I know it's a little bit of a heavy topic, but it's also beautiful in a way of that you're able to convey that these themes and then these metaphors together through a way that makes sense and is driven into real world. It has like a real themes that like in everyday life. And I think it's so interesting that how Horikoshi was able to interweave it into a story and show it in like a mature way. But going back to a little bit of a lighter note, I'm really excited to see how this fight ends. Like I said, I think Dabi has something going on. I still think the whole like Phoenix metaphor for him is going to come back here, but I guess we'll just see next week. So because this is a fighting chapter, of course it's going to be a little bit shorter because there's a little bit less for us to really talk through, but I think we really got the essence here and we are set up really well for next fight. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching and I will see you all next class.